Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of eHeroes. For those keeping count, this is episode 283, and today we're going to talk about the human algorithm. And you're probably thinking, "Wow, what's that?" Because everybody hears about AI and everything AI can do, but what is it that your human self can do? So I brought on Joshua Lee, who is the owner of Standout Authority. And I think this is going to be a fun conversation because we have a lot in common. And yeah, just the conversation we had off air was pretty powerful. So welcome, Joshua, and thanks for being here.
Rob, no, excited. Like you said, I mean, the conversation that we already had, I mean, it's too bad we weren't recording that because again, we had some value. So I can't wait. I can only imagine what we're going to get into now for everyone to actually listen into. So
You
looking,
know,
again, look and see where this is going to go.
you and I both enjoy AI. And we use it probably for different reasons. I use it to simplify some of the things that I do.
Yeah.
But I don't like AI when it comes to conversations being, had on social media. And I made the example off air that, I posted something on Facebook and somebody responded back and it sounded very AI-ish. And so
Right.
I say, hey, was this you or your AI? Oh, it's my AI. Well, get your AI out of here. I want to have a conversation with you, not a pre-programmed, you know, uh, AI response. But
Yeah.
it just seems like that's where people want to go. And to me it's taken the humanity out of being social.
True. I mean, it's interesting. This conversation, I was at an event speaking event trafficking conversions, been around for a long time.
Hmm.
And there was someone I hold with high regard there. And they were talking about, oh, wow, I don't even have to do podcasts anymore. Like I can just have my AI be able to go through it. It can create the video, the content, and be able to create podcasts like that. I'm going, like, why? Like, I mean, there's so much content out there. Do we just need to add more content for that pure sake of just doing it? I think that's the biggest problem. And people look at this, Rob, and like you said, right? Like AI is an amazing tool, right? So many people are actually taking it as an appliance to be able to become them, to be able to do them, to be able to do everything. Like a dishwasher, you just put your dishes in and it washes it. Cool. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know who has the dishwasher that does that, but I still don't because again, I have to wash my dishes beforehand. And like AI is that same kind of situation. Like it is a tool, and the tool in the right hands can create masterpieces. I mean, like an artist with a paintbrush, right? Like it can do that. I think that's the ability it gives us, but the problem is people are looking at it in the wrong stance right now. And we're getting to a point where very quickly humanity that it is going to be lost online at least. And I think we're going to have the people that are actually understanding how to be able to use it, not let it use you,
Right.
to be able to truly stand out even more.
It's in my whole series of Rob versus books. One of the books is called Rob versus Humanity. And I wrote that right after COVID or during COVID because people got so stupid. Customer service was horrible.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what AI is doing to humanity. We're taking that customer service and throwing it on its ass and saying, "Hey, we don't need it anymore. We're just gonna let the AI control everything." Oh, and back to your response about the dishwasher.
Yeah.
I always hated the fact that I had to wash my dishes before I had to put them in the dishwasher. My
If
wife's like,
someone can make a dishwasher that actually I can just stick dirty dishes in there, I will pay a pretty penny for that thing.
my wife's like, "No, you got to wash them first." I'm like, "For the amount of money I paid for this dishwasher, it should do."
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's just
But I think that's the reality, right? That's the reality that we're in. And I mean, I don't think I've ever used that specific, reference, but it makes so much sense because that's what people are looking at. Like with AI, yes, it can help you be able to complete tasks very quickly. Yes, it can be able to do amazing research. Yes, it can create content for you. But if you do not wash that content first, be able to go through it, be able to put your elements on it, be able to surprise, surprise, add the humanity that as human beings, we make decisions based on some degree of love or hate. We
mhm.
do not make decisions being indifferent. So if you're just putting out content for content's sake, you're missing the emotional triggers that actually makes us human and allows us to be able to make decisions in this world.
Well,
And I
let's
mean,
talk
like if we
about
start,
those triggers
yeah,
because, when I first started using ChatGPT, I would just say, hey, create an article about this. And it would spit it out and it would look nice and everything. And I still see a lot of that crap on social or on people's blogs.
yeah,
But now it's like, okay, create this article, but throw my sarcastic personality in there with a touch of, seriousness, or, write it in the style of Dan Kennedy or do this.
right.
You have to tell the AI exactly how that thing is supposed to spit out. And when I tell it to give it personality, man, it sounds better. It
Have
sounds
to be
more
able to, and
human.
I think even with that though, Robin, you still need to be able to go in. Like when we look at for our clients, like when we help them, create content, like yes, we use AI. And then we have a writer that goes through it.
Mhm,
Then we have an editor that goes through it. Then we have a social media person that goes through it, right? Like we've got four human beings
mhm,
even before it actually hits any social. And I mean, you're right, it goes through, but like I don't know. I've got a lot of content out there, and maybe I put my like, look, I love superhero things, Marvel, DC, all that stuff.
mhm,
It knows my voice, but I maybe it's picked up too much because like if I put it in there, man, like it references, it goes really hard on the superhero references when it takes in my voice, which I don't mind a little bit, but
mhm,
it's being able to go through and guess how we would respond to something. And if you and I were sitting here and I was like, okay, well, Rob asked me this question, let me guess at the answer.
mhm.
Like you're gonna eventually go, okay, maybe Josh is not the expert that I thought he was. And in this world right now with AI, guess what? Every single person on this planet can be a quote unquote expert.
Right,
And so being an expert doesn't mean anything. Being an authority where someone that you look towards to be able to guide you, I think that's going to be the biggest difference because experts are a
right,
dime a dozen now because everyone is because of ChatGPT.
right. And
You're just giving information.
going back to experts versus authority, I've been very deliberate over the last probably 15 years in what content I put out there. But being an author, a co-author, producer of books, I've produced 43 books in 11 years.
Yeah,
There's so much out there, and being that this podcast is hundreds of episodes, there's a lot of stuff out there to search. So you type in
right,
Rob Anspach, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff that the AI can work with. But if
right.
if you're just starting out and you have no expertise or even authority out there, you have to create content that's deliberate, that's purposeful, that's intentful, so that the AI has something to search.
Yeah. Wait, Rob, you're telling me I can't just lean on a Lamborghini that I found out down the street and be like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to make seven figures, even though I've never done it before. Right.
That's
Like,
exactly right. Yeah.
and I mean, the funny thing is, like, we saw this. You and I have been doing this. You've been doing it over 30 years. I've been doing it for at least 20. And we've seen those people. We've seen those authentic entrepreneurs that are out there that are going to go through. And I mean, I remember calling BS on them 10 years ago for doing that before AI. Now it's even easier for them to the Ferrari they're leaning on or whatever car they're leaning on, it's Chat GPT,
Hmm.
right? And so we're gonna see a lot more people getting hurt in this world
Right.
because they're not leaning from their own experiences in life and being able to say, hey, I was able to do this maybe for myself, maybe for my clients. Let me tell you a story.
Hmm.
And I think we've lost that storytelling because I've I played around, man. We write so much content. Storytelling, when people are going through to be able to actually share, especially on social, like they're not, it's a whole bunch of content and to be able to how to be able to do things, but they're missing that story element because the AI didn't live their life. They're living the life that fake Instagram life. Like, look, you and I do really well about putting really genuine content out there. Like, look, here's the things that go on. I mean, I just did a post about this weekend where honestly, Rob, I had five people show up for me. I did a think tank a buddy of mine put together. The people that showed up are people that I've known for 10 years.
Hmm.
And one of them said one thing to me. I went there, I was like, oh, I'm here to be able to grow my business. And we didn't talk about business, we talked about me. And one of the guys said, like, Josh, we know each other for 10 years. You could pick up phone anytime you had one of our other friends set this think tank for you to be able to go through. And I can tell you in the last 10 years, you've never even called me to move a chair.
Wow.
And these are experts in their industry, right? Like, and so like, and I share that I want people to understand that even as however they might see us, like we make mistakes too about going our insecurities of what we ask for. And so like that's how I can put that all day long, but I guarantee you most people what they share on social, on online, it doesn't hint at these things. It doesn't, they're the missteps we make, right? It talks about all our successes. Thus, the information that's going to be combined from the AI out is going to be filled with fallacy.
Mm-hmm. Well, 11 years ago, when I released my first book, the very first chapter in that book was share your story. And I'm very adamant about any client that I pick up, lawyers, doctors, they need to be able to share their story in a way that takes them off their high horse throne that they've been trained to be on, brings them down to an arena where you're on the same level as the person that's hiring you.
Right.
And so if you share this story, whether it's your backstory, whether it's your origin story, whatever story you want to share, people can relate to you better, trust you, and want to hire you. And when you do that, you're going to get better types of clients. You're going to get paid better. You're going to get better referrals, and you're not going to waste your time on people that don't have any money.
Exactly. Dude, again, I knew I would love this conversation just from our being able to talk going through because I say it all the time. Like there's usually this huge gap between us and our audience or us and whoever we're talking to, and they can't make the jump. And when you start telling your story, that gap between you and your audience, and you get commonality, right? And as human beings, that's what we look for. We look for that commonality. And so like that's what we have to be able to do this. I'm like, you talk about your book, like my book, I wrote this and balance is bullshit. And it really was the first chapter in there
Mm-hmm.
is all about, look, here's one of the biggest mistakes I made in Vegas. And that cost me almost my business, but a tremendous amount of money. And I want you to realize where I'm coming from. If you're going to take advice from me from the rest of the book, I want you to realize that I am fallible. I am human, right? And I'm not perfect. And I think that's the biggest thing that so many people kind of want to go through. Like they're putting all this quote unquote perfect information out that AI is helping them write, and they're actually creating a larger gap between them and their audience. And it's just, I don't know. I think we have a better time now. And you and I have been doing this, as I said, for a long time. This reminds me of like almost like 2001, the dot-com boom, 2008, the fall. I mean, like I was in digital marketing, like we were bleeding money like crazy. I think this is another opportunity for the true people that are truly adding value to this world with their business that are trying to help others, not just monetize, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to stand out greater than ever because
You know,
content's not king anymore.
there's certain words that I don't even like anymore. Monetize is one of them. Optimize
Exactly.
is another. And the thing is that my second book was optimize this, and it was all about SEO. I can't even stand the word anymore because
Right.
everybody has thrown it into this formula that just saying the word's going to make you money. No, it's not. Lately, my favorite word is bullshit, and it's like your book, and it's my last book that just came out, unscripted, unfiltered, unwoo woo, and unguru, just two no BS guys talking about entrepreneurship.
Love that.
And the thing is that I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to give people a bunch of woo woo fake information that's never going to work.
Right.
I want to give them information that they can feel that they trust me and have that connection. But it's funny. We off air we both talked about our wives,
Yeah.
and my wife and I co-own this business, Anspach Media. I run it. She does a lot of other different stuff, but you run your business with your wife. You're
I
partners
do.
in that, and a lot of entrepreneurs can't get over that. Hey, I work with my wife, live with my wife. We make all the decisions. She drives me crazy. Um, how do you do it?
Rob, that was an interesting thing, right? And it's very timely that you're asking me this because recent things have, I've had amazing conversations with my wife, Rachel. And I mean, like, look, she truly is amazing, right? Like I go back in, I had a past relationship. I was married for 10 years, and entrepreneur and non-entrepreneur, being able to go through. And And we had a lot of differences that went through. And as entrepreneurs, I try to fix it. You know,
Hmm.
I'm going to fix this. I'm going to go through. Like I always wanted kids. So like, I'm going to have a kid. Anyone that says that they're going to fix a relationship by having a child, they don't know what having children really means, being able to go through. But you know, and I walked away from that, right? Like I was able to achieve success, which is success based on other people's vision, which people are told is based on monetary value. But success, when people saw me as successful, I was 45 pounds overweight, never been overweight in my life. My vision was nowhere exactly except for where I was. And I had my friends were monetary. It was this, again, a work-life balance bullshit that I was trying to live. And, you know, it made me contemplate even if I should be on this planet. If the
Hmm.
money I would leave for my kids would actually be more important. And I was really blessed. A good friend of mine, Jesse Elder, actually gave me permission not only to be able to take my life back, but give my former hers. And I walked away from everything. My lawyer said, Josh, is going to take 3 years to be able to go through. And I said, no, I can always make more money. I can't make more time.
Hmm.
And so it was a reset. And when I came back in, look, you know, I love your book because look, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the guru. Like I had my man bun, my mala beads, my pendulum had swung. I'm gonna. And then I realized really quickly, I was like, dude, I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be this whole side. I
Hmm.
was forgetting my past to forge a new future, and I had to be able to pair my past with my future where I was going, and that's where I met Rachel. And when we met, I had already been doing this for a long time. I was late 30s, and I said, look, I don't want. I want to get past the BS. Like here's 100% me. You tell me 100% you. Like everything you like, you don't like, all these other things. Like, let's see if we can actually work out. Because if I can't have that one relationship together outside of the visibility of the world, like, what are we doing? And
Hmm.
that's kind of how we did the business as well, too. It was like, look, like, let's just be 100% us 100% of the time on and offline. And that's really not easy,
Hmm.
but it's been amazing to be able to live that one life, not that work life and that personal life, because it's like having two different personalities, right? Like we have that one life, we get to live it. And I mean, you talk about these things, you talk about entrepreneurs and what they go through, the egos that a lot of times as male entrepreneurs, we go through. Man, I just came to realization too that where we're at, like I started this company 10 years ago, actually, as of last week, which is crazy. Um, and my wife has been in it for 2.5 years, and where she's at and what she's doing and how she actually helps with this company, we're actually having a conversation if she should be the CEO of the company rather than me.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Just to
mean,
be 100% transparent, right? Because again, understanding our value and where we should be versus what we are told we need to be. And I think that's where a lot of those relationships, especially men and women working together, come
yeah, I
across.
mean, Anspach Media is 23 years old this year, but I would overlap that with a prior company that I started in 1995, which was a carpet cleaning company.
Yeah.
And you know, people always ask me, well, Rob, what does carpet cleaning have to do with marketing? I learned all my chops in carpet cleaning. And I learned how to market. I learned how to do all this. And it got to that point where I was taking on clients and they're saying, hey, Rob, we want help with our marketing. Can you help us? We love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then that's how the marketing company was born. But the marketing company, you know, basically didn't do a lot for the first 10 years. And it wasn't until the first book took off and people were like, wow, we really want your help.
Yeah.
The book helped. So I sold the cleaning business and I've been doing this, you know, uh, full time now
And
without the other
honestly,
business
Rob,
for 10 years, 11
thankfully
years.
that you're doing this, right? Because like you're the one, you're actually going out there and showing the real side of human. Like men like you and I, a lot of other marketers do not appreciate because we're going against the grain of going, oh, well, it's a numbers game. You got to be able to go through here. Let me show you how to be able to use this tripwire to be able to get someone in and be able to sell them. And you and I are on the other side going, why do I have to sell someone? How about I educate, inspire, and draw them in? How about I get them to be able to have a conversation with me that builds a relationship that creates massive opportunity?
Yeah.
And this is the whole piece. People are going, well, grab their name and pitch them 15 times because you got to have so many touch points and eventually they're gonna buy from you. I think more so you might get the one sale if you do that to 1,000 people, but you're probably just going to piss off 999 people
Right.
in the process.
You
And I think
know,
there's a better way to do it.
for me, it's always been simplify. So there's no tripwires, no funnels. For
Right.
me, it's all everybody says, oh, Rob, look, I got another funnel. you're always one funnel away from a mental breakdown. Get rid of the funnels.
Right.
Simplify what you're doing. And the thing is that the moment I started simplifying, I had all these clients say, "Hey, Rob, I take my credit cards. Just
Yeah.
I trust you." They didn't want to be funneled through. They didn't want to be engaged in some tripwire and or
Yeah.
some bait and switch thing. And that's just not me. And yeah, there's guys that are out there or companies out there that are doing this and they're making tons of money and they don't care if you're a name or a number, but that's not me.
No, right there
And
with you, my friend.
I had a conversation earlier, and people say, "Well, Rob, send me a contract." I don't do contracts. I haven't done contracts in probably 5 or 6 years. This
Yeah.
is my price. This is what I'm going to do. Um, you don't like it? Give me 30 days, leave. Or if for some reason I think you're an asshole, I'm going to give you 30 days and fire you. And the thing is, I've had clients with me for 5, 6 years. Sometimes I think one of them has been with me for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And most of my clients are lawyers. And if a lawyer wants to do business with you and there's no contracts, that tells you something.
Exactly. No, and that's why I love Rob. I mean, you talk about this going through, so alignment with you and I, as we kind of look at these things. And we started this whole conversation off talking about the human algorithm, and you talk about simplification, right? Like everyone's always chasing the algorithm,
Right.
right? Oh, what's the LinkedIn algorithm? What's the Facebook? What's the Instagram? They're looking for the next trick, the next hack. Guess what? If you continue to be able to look for the next trick or hack, you're always going to be looking for the next trick or hack. It's just going to be a constant process because the algorithms are changing every single second that we're turning around, right? Because again, you're trying to beat something that, and rather than actually work with it. And I think this is the biggest thing. Like me, I pay attention to that human algorithm because it's the one that doesn't actually change. It just evolves slowly over time.
Right.
I mean, brother, the things that I do on LinkedIn, because again, that's the main platform that I work from. It's just the things that my mom taught me how to be able to treat other human beings, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything crazy. I'm just treating another person like a human being. And again, having the conversation, building relationships that create opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
There's no selling. There's no algorithm hacking. There's no funnel. It's just real conversations that lead into when someone chooses to work with you. Man, it's so much powerful because if you got to sell them, it's exhausting for everyone because you and I both know you got to sell them every single time the rebook comes up, and no one likes to be able to do that. And so, people are like, well, Josh, how you beating LinkedIn? How are you doing so well? Like, man, it's something my mom taught me 40 plus years ago,
Yeah.
right? It's just, it's not rocket science. And I
You
think
know,
that's the biggest
I
thing
just
most people
checked and,
overcomplicate.
and I have I think 9,500 connections on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I do that's probably different than 99% of the people out there is I send people a little welcome video. Thank you for the connection.
Yeah.
And it's there's no pitch. It just says, "Hey, you know what? You're awesome." And then I have a little transcript. And people have appreciated that video. They said, "This is great." It starts up a conversation. I'm not pitching them.
Yeah.
And when I started doing that a couple years ago, I think I had like 4,000 connections. So over a couple of years, I've gained 5,500 connections.
Which is amazing.
Just
Like
just
real
doing
connections. And that's the
just
thing, right? Like
just doing
not
one
just
little thing, right?
most people, I always say that most people on LinkedIn are just playing Pokemon, right? Like they're just trying to catch them all. And
Yeah,
I go, this is why they're on that platform. They go, well, I just get pitched all the time. The feed sucks. I go, well, you just hit ad all the time, or you just hit, like no wonder, like
yeah.
there was no intention
Hmm.
behind what you were doing. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like people have lost the intention. Like I love that you're actually going through to be able to start that off. They get to, as human beings, the more senses that we use to be able to hear someone, see someone, feel someone. I don't want to say taste someone, but like we get it.
Right.
Like we are able to build that commonality, that bond, to be able to build that relationship. And I mean, that's what you're doing, which is amazing.
It's, but I was fed up with the pitches, and by
Or if
giving
I get
them,
pitched, delete.
and so by sending them a welcome video or connection video right
Yeah,
away, and it's only 15 seconds, so it's not going to take up their whole day.
yeah,
it eliminates them trying to pitch me. All I
Right.
want is a conversation. And I don't come out and say, hey, look, go to my website, do this, do this. No, if you want to have a
Yeah.
conversation, here I am. And I put the ball in their court. And
Oh yeah.
it makes it so much easier. But the thing is that I've looked at a lot of different platforms, and I stay on Facebook because that's where the majority of people are. I go to
Yeah.
LinkedIn because that's where the majority of entrepreneurs are. Uh,
Know your
for
platform. Yeah.
TikTok, I post every now and then.
Me
Uh,
too.
Twitter is pure chaos. Um, you know, uh, Blue Sky just came out, which is
Yeah.
created by the same guy who created Twitter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the followers as
Yeah,
Twitter does.
there's a difference. Yeah, and I mean that's a whole piece, right?
You
One
know,
thing I'll push you on being able to share more on LinkedIn, my friend, just because of the fact of, I'm really blessed. Like the time I spent on there, it's allowed me to be able to build a good relationship with them and see where there's some of their stuff there's going on the beta side.
mhm,
And we touched on AI being able to go through, and I want people to understand. We talked about using the AI, not letting it use you, because LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. And Microsoft actually invested at $14 billion in another small company called OpenAI, aka
mhm,
ChatGPT. It's really amazing what they're doing on that platform. You talked about Twitter. Like, look, we all know once Elon bought it, it went crazy just because of the fact that he didn't care about the social media platform. He cared about really, first and foremost, integrating and indexing the human algorithm that was on there for his next AI.
mhm.
And that's what actually Microsoft and OpenAI are doing with LinkedIn right now, but at a higher level. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's really crazy because when you put content on LinkedIn, not only can you get found on there, because again, I want to be able to draw my audience in, right? Like I don't have to go and find them. I want them to come to me. And so, like for me, putting that content on there, that allows me to not only get indexed on LinkedIn, you mentioned SEO. I
Mhm.
can't remember if it was before our conversation or during this, but like the SEO, the mouse score on LinkedIn is 100 out of 100. So now that content being able to get found on LinkedIn, it's actually getting highly indexed on Google, the platform
Mhm.
that everyone goes to. And then now they're using a thing called collaborative articles on LinkedIn to really index that human algorithm in a way that is the future of business, allowing us not to, I don't want to build an AI that competes with the other million people that are doing it every second. I
Mhm.
want to actually play with the house, play with the algorithm and be that authority. And so they're actually indexing the human beings on that platform for when generative search launches in about a year and a half to 2 years. So
Yeah.
like when we talk about all these things, again, it's not playing a game. It's not playing against the algorithm. It's actually understanding how it works and how to be able to actually get your voice heard because we
Mhm.
all want to be able to have that know, like, and trust.
Well, know, like, trust, and feel safe.
Right.
After COVID, everybody wanted to feel safe.
I
You know,
love that addition. Thank you.
and
Yeah.
and but LinkedIn for me is a powerhouse, and I think everybody should learn to use it. Now, yes, I have chapters in all my Rob Versus books about the LinkedIn losers who try to scrape emails and send me, bogus crap.
Wait, Rob, you're telling me you don't like to connect with someone. They're going to pitch you on LinkedIn and they're going to scrape your email and then email you because you didn't respond on LinkedIn. And then nowadays, they'll even take your phone number if you put it on there and text you in hopes that they message you 5,000 times different ways that they're actually create a sale. What? It's
Um,
crazy.
Personally, I don't like them, but
Yeah.
I like them because they add content to my books. Um,
Right. Uh,
some of my clients will call me up and they'll say, answer your phone. They'll leave messages, and I'm like, why? Because you could just send me an email, or a WhatsApp or whatever, but
yeah.
you get on the phone and talk to me for 20 minutes. Now, here's the thing about that. Most clients, yes, they probably only have one question, but they get on the phone because they want that human connection.
Yeah.
They want to be able to hear you. They want to be able to appreciate what you're saying. And sometimes we as entrepreneurs don't have the time. We we push them into voicemail. We tell them to text us. We tell them to email because we know it's simple.
Yeah.
But, the other day I actually pick up the phone and talk to somebody, and, you know, I probably prevented a client from leaving.
Yeah.
He stayed because I took the time to talk.
Love that.
So,
I'm
yeah,
still here from 2008 because when all that went down, digital advertising, everyone was screaming, going crazy. Most people were avoiding. Guess what? I answered the phone. That's as simple as it did, was to make my company be able to survive one of the biggest digital marketing apocalypses back then that was
mhm,
around. And so many companies failed just because of the fact they were too scared to be able to pick up that phone and just listen.
yeah, yeah. So I know that we're all busy. I am too. I don't even like answering the phone. I do answer it for scammers because their content goes in my books and makes me money. But clients don't like when you prioritize scammers over themselves. So I guess I need to do a better job at that. But yeah, the human algorithm is something that we've all tried to tackle. And I think a lot of us tend to want to game the system, especially when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
We've gone to social media, we know how to game it. We've gone to, SEO, we know how to game it, but we don't know how to game the human connection that we so desire anyway.
Usually that's what's inside of us, right? I mean, we're just trying to be able to find out, more about ourselves than, from our audience. And so I love that,
I,
my
I'm
friend.
I'm highly sarcastic, and maybe it didn't come off in this episode too well, but I find that I attract like-minded people. And those who appreciate my humor, my sarcasm, tend to want to stay longer with me. Those people who have no idea what sarcasm is, they think maybe I'm being rude to them. They don't last long.
Right.
And I think the reason I share that is that yes, we want human connection, but sometimes we want the connection that's actually going to fulfill us the most, which is our personality jiving with somebody else's personality.
So true.
So trying to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, um, I really want you as a client, but you're not sarcastic, so go away. Doesn't always bode well, but
Right.
really, that's the types of clients that you're really looking for.
Yeah.
And
Most
I
people just
think
take
that,
the money if the money shows up, right, Rob? I mean, they're
yeah,
like, oh, well, I'll pay you. And then you get in, and then we all get that time, right? Where it's you get that pit in your stomach, like, oh, I got to talk to Rob again, right? Like,
mm,
I never want a client like that actually feels that way to get on a phone call with me. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to get on a call that I have to go, oh man, okay, I got to talk to Rob again. Let's muster it up. Okay, hey Rob, what's up? This is Josh. Good, like that's exhausting.
yeah,
And so, like, you're 100% correct. I want the clients that are going to be able to understand that sarcasm, be able to understand that
yeah.
piece. So,
So
dude, I love that.
it's accepting every client out there doesn't work. It's going to burn you out. It's going to suck the joy out of you being an entrepreneur. But accepting the clients that really embrace who you are, it's going to make your life so much more enjoyable. And you know, I think for me, you know, taking massive vacations yearly, and what I mean massive, sometimes 2 weeks off, sometimes a month off, sometimes like this year we're planning on taking our kids and grandkids to Disney World for a week.
Amazing.
And I've talked about Disney World before
Yeah.
on this show many times, and it's my place that I go to recharge. And everybody has to have that type of place. And it doesn't always have to be, take time off to go. You could go to a, river, you can go to a park, you just need that place that you go to recharge. And so I go there and I look at other humans. I see what they're doing. I see how they're acting. And I see what makes them tick. I see what they're, how they're paying for stuff. But the thing is, I come back into my own business and how can I adapt what I saw, what I learned to make what I do better?
So smart.
Disney is the master at marketing. Learn from those types of companies that are able to bring large groups of people in, extract a lot of money, and copy what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
To your own personality, of course.
I mean, there's not many places out there, like Disney. I mean, like or even a family of four could cost you almost $1,000 a day to be able to go to some of these places. And people do it without even thinking
Yeah.
because of what you're talking about, right? They've been able to understand to be able to give them what they want, right? Not try to be able to sell them what they believe they need, right? Being able to go through there. And I think that's that big thing. Like there's a big difference between needs and wants. Of course, we all know what we want. We don't always, we all believe we know what we want, right? But there's always things that we need and we don't actually kind of go through.
One thing
Companies
though
actually, yeah,
that
go ahead.
one thing that I always tell people about my trips to Disney, and the reason why they're successful, the reason why I keep going back, is because I've lowered my expectations. When I first started going, I wanted to get on every single ride. I wanted to maximize the day. Hey, we're paying this amount of money for tickets.
Yeah,
You're gonna hop on all these rides. Forget the shows, forget the characters. Just go, 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 go.
sure everyone resonates with that.
And my kids were like, Dad, what the hell? They wanted to take it easy. They wanted to wake up late, go to the park when they felt like it. And I'm like, so over the years, I've learned to lower that expectation.
Yeah,
Let them go when they feel like it. We're going to go when I feel like it. I'm going to get my maximum day, but they can do whatever they want.
right,
And because the kids got older, they can do that. But there's a lot of people who go to the parks thinking, hey, we're gonna go, 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 go. And then you get by midday, you got parents yelling at each other, yelling at their kids. The kids are crying. It's no longer the happiest place on earth.
right.
It's one step closer to, somebody's going to commit murder. You got to calm down. And when you take that same attitude back into your own business, there's a lot of customers that come to you that have these high expectations because they've been promised by other people.
Right.
And your job is to bring their expectation down to a point where, you know, everybody's on the same level, so
What's
that they're
that?
not yelling at you. You're not yelling at them.
Well, Robert, you say that. Let me ask you this. I mean, because I know we've done it, really sitting in, we sit down with someone before we hire them, like it's not only about what they expect from us to be able to choose, but we actually even have a conversation on for us, for this to be successful, this partnership to be successful, this is what I need from you. And I don't think a lot of companies go in and do that, right? They say they always tell the person or the client or whatever what they're going to provide, but they don't actually put stipulations in place to say, hey, look, this is a two-way street. I can't
Mhm.
do what I do without you.
Yeah.
And I think
We,
that's
we,
really
we just
important.
can't magically produce your content without you sharing with us some of the things that you do. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
maybe pull it off your website. We can do, but why don't we interview you to get your personality, to figure out we can take those snippets, put it on video, put it on a lot of the, I just had to get rid of a client because they didn't want to do anything. I said, well, let's get on Zoom. I'll video you. I'll interview you. We'll take those questions and we'll take
Yeah.
frequently asked questions and you answer and we'll put them out there. No, I don't want to do that. I just don't. I'm not beautiful. I don't want to get on. All I hear is excuses. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, there's a certain service that you offer. Let's create a press release, get it out there so that you're getting exposure. No, I don't want to do that either. What do you want to do?
Like, why you hire me?
Yeah, it's like, and so we as entrepreneurs, we have this constant tug of war with our customers, and it shouldn't be that way. They should be as willing to cooperate with us as we are for them. Our job is to help them make money, and they're just resisting.
Yeah.
And so it goes back to that human algorithm. We have to understand them, they have to understand us. And it's not that they want to be sold on your service. For me, it's always been you're my friend first, my client second. And so I will come in with a handshake. I will make sure that I got your back.
Yeah.
And if at 2 o'clock in the morning you have something that's wrong, you can call me or text me. I will return your call. Or if I'm up, I'll answer. Um, but that's my philosophy. And
Yeah.
like I said, I try to make people feel safe. Yeah.
I love that, man. And that's what it's all about, right? I mean, we all want to be able to have that feeling of safety. We've all been screwed over by other people that we hold very close to us. So when we actually hire other companies being able to go through, there's always that level of edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop, right?
Hmm.
And so like that's what you're doing. You're actually going through to make sure they understand that they are taken care of, they are, important, and it's not just about the money. And man, that's what we need more in this world, man.
I'm actually looking on your website, and it's a great website, a lot of information. But
Thank you.
one of the testimonials that you have is from Dan Sullivan, and
Huh.
I've known Dan for a long, long time, or I've known of him. I don't think I've ever actually met him, although
Yeah.
I might have at one of Joe Polish's marketing seminars in
Oh yeah.
Arizona. You
Well, of
know,
course, you talk about Joe too, and I'm like, y'all's story is very similar. So yeah,
yeah,
Joe's been one of my past clients as well too. Both amazing humans.
yeah. I mean, that's how I learned marketing from Joe and his brother Tony, and but that was going back to 1998. So it's 25 years,
Yeah,
26 years, but a lot of these names like Dan Sullivan, they've been in the game for a long time. And for you to have his testimony on your website speaks volumes.
thank you, my friend. And it's an honor, right? Like the things that I use, how I made money before, people would ask me what I did. It didn't bring any value. I made a lot of money, but I don't know if how many people actually helped. When I
Hmm.
shifted to do what I do now, to be able to help people educate, inspire, and draw their audience, be able to create advocates first and allow byproduct to become clients, I started getting into work with men and women like Dan. I used to read their books on how to be able to start my own companies 20 years ago.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's like, I smile about what I get to do these days because I do get to work with amazing humans. I tried to change this world on my own, and I damn near killed myself trying to
Hmm.
do it, And the only way that I can be able to add value to this world, to be able to change it, not only for my kids, for your kids, for future generations, is to work with other amazing humans like yourself to truly be able to change this world because we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And that's what I get to be able to do these days. That's why I get to work with amazing people like Dan because he sees the difference.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
sees the opportunity of what's
For,
there.
and I've shared this before, but my two words that I live for are freedom and legacy. Freedom to run my business how I want, you know, and to take time off and have that benefit for my family, and legacy to give the gift of what I do for the next generation to learn from.
Yeah,
My books, my podcasts, everything. You know, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs lose that focus. It's for them. It's all about as Indiana Jones says, fortune and glory, kid, fortune and glory, and that can only last so long before you get burned out and you want something more out of life.
100%.
So,
Well said. Yeah. And
what,
again, I love the Indiana Jones reference as well. So yeah.
so where do people find you? Where do they go? And I know I'm looking at your website. There's a lot of great stuff there. So if you want to share that URL.
I mean, of course. Yeah. I mean, look, you can go to standoutauthority.com and be able to connect. But at the same time, Rob, I mean, like for me, it's about building relationships. Like, look, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all these other ones, at the Joshua B. Lee. But like seriously, for me, I mean, my power platform to be able to share and where I educate the most is on LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
Like being able to go through and like, I don't want someone just to go on there and be able to send me a message, just hit connect on my thing. Like I, what I love, Rob, and people always kind of like, oh, no one's ever going to do this, but like you'd be amazed. Like I want the listeners that listen to you, that love you, to be able to connect with me, but send me a message on what they love about you, what you stand for, why they listened in.
Mhm.
Because not only do I get to know them and why they listen to you, but I get to know you better as well. And then that's where those relationships go. So that's it, man. Find me on LinkedIn. Tell me why you listen to Rob every single time he puts out a podcast, why you read every single one of his books. And I mean, that'll allow us to be able to get to know everyone that much more.
Yeah, and he's got great hair.
I try.
And I appreciate everyone for listening, and please visit the Joshua over at all the socials on his website. Tell him I send hi, and just say nice things, because it strokes my ego, and I need that. So until next time, I'll see you on the next podcast. Adios.